All right. First and foremost, I think it was tremendous that we were able to honor Alex Wilcox tonight. Uh, for everything that she meant to this university, to this athletic department, and to her team. So I was very proud to be a part of that, and I think our kids did a great job throughout the week. With that, I thought some of the things that we challenged the team to do coming out of last week's win, we addressed. Obviously, Louisiana came out and had a nice drive right down the field for a field goal, and I thought after that we responded pretty well. I think we dictated the tempo of the game in all three phases with our physicality and with our execution. I think we took another positive step forward to where we want to be. By no means are we there yet. Plenty of room to grow, but I liked how hard we played tonight. I liked our improved execution. I liked how we had less substitution errors, less penalties, and I think we're getting better and better every week.
Questions? Then a mic to Joel.
You have any health updates on Jamal Peters or Kylan Hill?
Any what? I'm sorry.
Health update on Jamal Peters, Kylan Hill?
They're dinged. They're both lower body. We'll take a look at them and injury check tomorrow, and I'll make a determination from there.
Joe, those first few scoring drives, the third down conversions were huge, and you had like some 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 12s, and Fitz, I think, had a hand in most all of them. What can you say about his execution on 3rd down?
On 3rd down, yeah, that's you call 3rd down the money down, and on top of explosive play margin and turnover margin, the next two areas that we're very aware of and cognizant of in terms of our execution, how it pertains to the outcome of the game is 3rd down percentage offensively, defensively, and red zone. So I thought Nick had a couple of good reads and good throws into tight windows there, particularly in longer yardage, and had some receivers getting some pretty good separation against man coverage. So we're going to look back. I'm not sure what the percentage was, but 8 of 11 was a pretty good job on 3rd down for the 3rd week in a row.
He was pretty good in all aspects, really, particularly downfield, much better than last week. What was done this week in practice to kind of make that the case and make him better from the first?
What was what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
What was done in practice to make
done?
him better from last week to this week?
To be honest, there wasn't a tremendous amount of variation from what we normally do. We watched the film last week and saw the things that we could have done better. Particularly some of those overthrows and I was confident that Nick knocking the rust off in his first start, and particularly in our system, that he was going to improve coming out in game 2, and Coach Browner did a great job with him. Nick took all the corrections from last week, and worked during the practice to correct him, and I thought he came out today and, as we expected, took another positive step forward. And he could get better, but it was definitely a step in the right direction.
Hey, Coach. I guess you weren't kidding when you said Aris was going to have a big week this week.
Yeah.
Was that just kind of a hot hand thing once you saw that he had a bit of a motor tonight, and how impressed were you by his performance?
No, I was very excited for him, and he came back and had a very good week of practice. Did all the right things from an accountability standpoint off the field, and earned his carries and earned his time. Kylan got a little bit dinged up, but between those two, it's a very formidable 1-2 punch. They both have kind of different styles and bring different skill sets to the table. Aries was a guy that we were able to utilize a little bit more today on 3rd down protection because he's got a lot of experience doing that. So, I was happy, and something we've talked about since the beginning of fall camp was individual and collective response to prosperity and adversity. And Aries was hit with a little bit last week and challenged him to respond the right way, and he did.
Kind of expanding on that a little bit, how was the conversation with Aries that you mentioned to us in the press conference, and how did you think he responded to that throughout the week?
Very well. I mean, it was on Sunday. Brought him in the office. Talked to him. Let him know what our expectation level was of him, particularly for a senior who's got a ton of experience. And he's got great practice habits. And I said, hey, we're going to put this behind us. You're going to do a great job this week. And he's a good kid, and kids make mistakes sometimes, and kids need to be held accountable, for their habits, and he did a great job. He responded from it.
quickly, Corey Thomas being out tonight, is that a one-game thing or what?
Yeah, one game deal.
And Nick ran a lot early. How much of that was just flow of the offense, and how much of that was planned to get him a few carries in the first quarter?
Yeah, I'd say it was flow. You know, like we mentioned last week, and I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, that you know, the offense, you know, the design of it, run pass option is, you know, who gets the ball is dictated by what the defender does that we're reading. So had the defender done something else, it could have been handed off. But in these instances, you know, the read told him to keep it. So, you know, that's something we'll continue to do, try to put second and third level defenders in conflict and force them to make a decision of who they're going to defend.
Coach, you with Corey out and Jonathan Abram missing the first half and then Jamal going down, you just talk about some of the guys that stepped up to fill that role for you.
Yeah, I mean, both safeties went in and did a good job. We are 2.5, almost 3 deep at defensive line, and, you know, Coach Hoop does a great job putting a plan together to maximize the players' strengths, you know, minimize their weaknesses, and certainly Coach Baker with 19 years of NFL experience, you know, on top of the talent that we have, you know, the way he coaches these guys, first and foremost as a mentor, you know, and then, you know, just challenge them to be their best. And when you have a unit with that much talent, for them to play with the effort, you know, and with the, you know, precision that they do, and all the guys who roll through there. And that's kind of, we talk about next man in. You know, if somebody goes down, the person who replaces them is going to do as good or better of a job. I think we saw that tonight.
You talked about the third down conversion rate, and then you guys only had 3 penalties tonight, and then obviously Nick having a better night passing was of emphasis. How important was it to have all 3 of those things kind of going your way heading into conference play next week?
Definitely the direction in which we want to be headed. You know, certainly 11 penalties was too much. You know, offensively we operate at our highest level. You know, when we're able to run the ball successfully, we're able to complete passes at a high percentage, but never at the expense of explosive plays and protecting the football. So I'm not sure what it was specifically, but I would venture a guess that we hit our number of explosive plays that we were looking for, and we did that within the construct of not turning the ball over and operating efficiently, and we knocked our penalties down too. So that definitely a step in the right direction.
What about defensively? What can you guys improve on? There are several, I guess, chunk plays on that first drive that they allowed.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think it'd be nitpicking a little bit, but that's good. I mean, if we're looking for small things to correct, then to me, that's a very, very positive, you know, part of what we're doing to, you know, get better every week. But you know, the opening drive, they hit us with a bunch of different formations, a bunch of different tempos. I mean, they really had that thing ripping and running. And you know, Coach Napier does a great job offensively. You know, successful at Arizona State, and you know, we knew that they were going to do some things that were pretty challenging. You know, that we just got to, you know, do a great job with gap integrity. You know, some of those deep balls, I thought, you know, a couple got completed early and contested a bunch in the second half. So, you know, all those small things we'll review it on film tomorrow and get better off of it.
What's different about Nick when he is completing those long passes and when he's not, like he was at Kansas State? What's different about him when those two things are happening?
Yeah, I think it forces a defense to defend both the run and the pass with, you know, equal respect to both parts of it. And I think on first and second down, a big part of what we do is run and play action pass. And for us to be able to distort the coverage and get the looks that we want and push the ball downfield, we have to take advantage of those explosive plays. And as these guys mentioned a little bit earlier, you know, a quarterback needs to complete drop-back passes on third down to extend drives, or, you know, in the instance where you fall behind and you need to throw the ball. So I think Nick's development as a passer is going to be critical, because, you know, every game's not going to be, you know, like the past 3 have been. There's going to be a time where we're going to need to, you know, battle back and, you know, throw the ball around. And I think every week as he continues to improve, that'll help us moving forward.
Coach, Kentucky is 3-0. You're obviously headed there next week. Based on what you saw tonight, would you say that your team is where you'd want them to be heading into conference play and heading to play an undefeated conference opponent?
That's a good question. I'd say I'm pleased with where we're at, but definitely not satisfied. You know, I think we're going to look at the film tomorrow and see a ton of things to correct, and that's a good thing, because you know, if you're not moving forward, you're falling back. And certainly, I haven't watched one snap of Kentucky yet. We'll come in tomorrow, watch the game in all 3 phases, correct it with the kids. Go out and have a little walkthrough practice and introduce Kentucky, and I'll take a look at them tomorrow night.
All righty, thank you. We'll have players in here shortly.
Hail State.